Take me back to a place where I felt at home. Take me back to a day when we weren't alone. Take me back to an age when the world felt small. Way back before we blew it all.
Welcome back to Trucking and Politics. My name is David. If you are new to the channel, welcome. Come on in. I appreciate you being here. Appreciate you clicking on the video. If you are a returning subscriber, I appreciate you coming back. I appreciate everyone that is here on the channel, old and new, young and old. Here at Trucking and Politics, here at this channel, what I normally talk about is trucking and politics, hence the name. Everything to do with trucking and government, politics related, how politics affect trucking, if trucking affects politics. That's what I typically talk about here. Sometimes I step outside of my lane, and with this video, I think I'm going to. A subscriber about a week ago left a comment on an old video. It was one from several months ago here, and I caught that comment. It popped up, and I caught the comment. The guy said, "Will you do a video on why people hate?" And I thought, that's odd. Why would you be asking me that? Not that I'm not appreciative. It's just, it really threw me off when he asked that question. The first thing that come to my mind was someone was being a bully to him. Someone was cutting him down, or someone was being mean, right, in some way to him. So my question to him was, well, what I first said was, sure, I don't have a problem with that. The second thing was, what do you want me to talk about? Because is someone being a bully or being showing hate towards you specifically, or do you want me to do a video and just in general speaking, why do people hate? And his response was, just in general. Well, it still threw me off. So I, of course, went to my assistant, my wife, and I said, look at this. And I showed her the comments, and she just had this real serious look on her face and said, you need to be careful with that. And I thought, why? Why do I need to be careful with that? And she said, you need to think about that before you do that. And it threw me, her response threw me off way more than the person's question and the subject matter and everything. And I said, why do I need to be so careful with that? And she just shook her head and said, you can open a big can of worms with that subject. And of course, being the, reclusive person that always has a lack for words, and very timid person that I am, I just thought, you know what? I don't really care. Let's go for it. I'm not a timid person at all. I don't have a lack of words. So, yeah, let's go for it. Why do people hate? The very basic, simple answer to that is because they're jerks. That's why they hate. That's why people hate, is because they're jerks. Because something is not to their taste, something is not to their liking, they're fearful of something, um, some type of insecurity in their life. They see it as competition. So it's like human nature. If you don't like it and it doesn't fit right with you, then you get rid of it or you kill it. I mean, it's just human nature. You hate it. So I was thinking about this more, and I started doing a little more research on it, looking into it more. And if you listen to the really smart people, the psychiatrists, the psychologists, the, you know, philosophical people and everything, there's like crazy stuff going on about this and everything. What is the definition of hate? Hate is, if you drew a line, okay, you drew a line and you put all of these emotions from neutral in the middle to just not really having any kind of emotion whatsoever, just being totally neutral. You put hate on one end. What do you put on the other end? Love. Love is the opposite of hate. It is the polar opposite. And it's funny that this subscriber brought this up on a trucking and politics channel. I was talking to a company driver for a company, the company I worked for before this one, actually. It was based out of Memphis. And he was a young black man. I don't know his age. Very smart young man. And we were talking about the Memphis area, you know, because if you don't know, Memphis is an extremely high crime rate area. I live right outside of Memphis. And so much is going on, and drugs and robberies and murder and just all of this. And I asked him a question. I said, since you live really close to Memphis, he actually lived in Mississippi, which borders Memphis, just like Arkansas does, but he was closer to Memphis than I am. And I said, since you're so close, you probably hang out in Memphis. And I believe he said that his girlfriend was from Memphis, if I remember right. And I said, what's going on? What is wrong with Memphis? His response threw me off too. And he said, man, that town is just, it's cursed. And I thought, it's cursed? Hang on, I need a drink. My throat's getting scratchy. Got my Budweiser here. AKA Diet Mountain Dew. So, I said, cursed? What do you mean cursed? And he said, something's going on there. It's like they can't get over it. And I said, I don't believe in that. That's something I don't really believe in. I don't believe an area can be cursed like that. Whether he was talking in the literal sense or, you know, it's just they can't overcome what they are. I don't know what he meant by that. I didn't really push him, you know, but he just said it was cursed. And I threw that off. I said, no, I don't believe that. That's like dodging the subject. And then we got to talking a little more, and he said, you know, what I think really is wrong is when I was younger, it was a different atmosphere in Memphis. People would stop and talk to each other. They would help each other. There was times I would be walking down the road with some friends and see somebody I knew. They'd roll the window down and, hey man, come on over. Let me give you a ride where you're going. And we'd jump in the car with them and take off. He said you'd be scared to do that nowadays. Even if you knew the people, you still had a level of fear there. Our world is changing, and not for the good. There's like this tension you can feel, you know? And I think there's a saying, fear breeds hate. Like I was saying, if it's something that you don't like or you don't feel comfortable with, you either push it away or you try to kill it. And I think that's what a lot of people are going through right now, is this uncomfortable atmosphere that we live in. Going with trucking. I remember a time I was talking to a friend of mine about this, totally unrelated to the love and hate thing, but we were talking about running out west back in the day. You know, if some of your older truck drivers are watching, you remember, you know, the long stretch of Interstate 10 going out west, and all the roads out there. 95 was one that really stuck out to me a lot. I used to run that area a lot from, you know, Nevada up. And, man, I mean, no cell phones. Even if we had cell phones, there wouldn't be any signal because there was no towers out there. So you had no cell phone. There was nothing on the radio. You could hit scan on your FM radio and it would just sit there and scan. It wouldn't pick up anything. Every once in a while you would pick up like a Mexican radio station, but I couldn't understand them because I can't speak Spanish. And I can't understand Spanish. So I didn't know. And I would listen to it sometimes just out of boredom because there was nothing else to listen to. And nothing on the CB radio, is just static. You might hear a whisper or a glitch every now and then, and it would fade off. And I remember back then I had subscriptions to magazines. Like I liked Road and Track and Popular Mechanics, and there was a few others along that line, you know, automobile type magazines. And I would get yearly subscriptions to them. You know, you could get a year subscription for $10 back then. But after reading a magazine over and over and over for a month, you recited the words. You knew every word in that magazine. You knew all of the car pictures. You knew everything about it, and it just got boring. And where I'm going with this is you start losing your ability to communicate because you get closed in on yourself. And when you do have the opportunity to talk, you either run over somebody with your talking because you just have so much to get out that you're just talking, just getting, you know, weeks worth of thoughts out of your head in just a few minutes. Or you turn into an introvert and all you do when you're around people is just listen and you're a spectator. You're just looking around watching other people talk. You know, some people call that a wallflower. And I can see where, specifically with truckers, where that would breed hate, because they dislike that alone time so much when they are around people finally, and they get around some type of person, or some type of crowd, rather, not some type of person, some type of crowd, to where they're around human activity again. They don't like it. They push it away. They want to go back into their cave, into their isolation. Excuse me, I've got a really dry throat for some reason. So, hopefully I'm not getting sick. Um, Fear breeds hate. Something that is not like them breeds hate. There's a lot of things, and love, like I said, is the complete opposite of that. So when you're around a lot of people that's happy, and they're enjoying what they do, and they're sharing with others, you find a lot of those people are happier, and they use the word love more open, because hate and love are emotions. It's like a positive emotion and a negative emotion. And if you're constantly around negative, you're going to project negative. And I think that's what's wrong with a lot of truck drivers, is the isolation, the not being around others. I enjoy being around people to an extent. My wife says I'm an introvert. I guess I am in a way, but I also like being around people. I like talking to people. I like sharing ideas and thoughts, and, you know, being a smart aleck and getting a laugh out of someone. I like being happy, but that's not always been the case. I wanted to share something with you that's super, super personal. I'm not going to get all into it, but I'm going to bring it up because it's so relevant with this story, with this subject. Something happened to me personally in 2003, and I had been fighting this situation for almost a year. Every day, every week, every month. And I knew the day was coming. I didn't want it to come. I fought as hard as I could to keep this day from coming. This situation that was happening, I was trying to prevent it. I knew what it was going to be. And I knew deep down in my mind, no matter what I did, I was not going to stop this situation from happening. I knew that I couldn't stop it. And in 2003, the day happened. And it was like, you know, in the Bible, they said Moses parted the water. That was what happened in my mind on that day. One day, it was intense love. The next day, started a path down intense hate for me. And I want to expand on this because it wasn't an instant hate, like a snap of a finger. It was like that day I fell. And it's not like I tripped over a stairs or a toy or, an object or something and I fell. I mean, inside, I fell. And there was nowhere for me to fall to. I just kept falling and falling and falling. That's the way I felt inside. That I just couldn't fall anymore. And then I would fall some more. And I went down this path that I knew not to go down, but I just felt like I couldn't keep myself supported. I didn't have a support system around me. I didn't have anything or really anyone to help overcome this situation. And what I want to say with this is this kept going week after week, month after month, year after year, and I kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse. I wasn't getting better. I was getting worse. And I finally had a breakdown moment where I said, I have got to overcome this. I've got to get myself together. And I've got to get over this. And I don't know how to get over this. And my falling that I had, if you don't know what I mean by the falling, it was depression is what it was. It was severe depression. And that depression then manifested into hate, to where I hated anything and everybody. I really did. I didn't want to talk to anyone. It got to that point, okay, if you don't want to talk to me and I can't find anyone to talk to and I can't get this out of me and I can't overcome this, then it, like I was saying with the truck drivers, you fall back into your reclusive self. And that's what I did. And I was a truck driver during that period of time too. And it just manifested itself into hate. And I became a very angry person, to where just a little thing would just send me into a rage. It would. You know the Marvel comic? I believe he's Marvel. I'm almost positive. I'm not good with my action heroes here. My son is. He's all into that, but I'm not so much. I think it's Marvel, though. The Fantastic Four person, the Human Torch, that one I'm talking about, where he got angry and you could just see his temperature coming up and up and up, to where it was just like, a strike of a match just sent him into an inferno. That was me during this time. Anything would trigger me and I would just go into a fire engulfed rage. I would scream at people. I wanted people to dislike me. That way they pushed away because of hate. Fear breeds hate. Hate breeds hate. I wanted people to hate me as much as I hated everything. And one day, years later, I just stopped and I looked around and I found out, I was totally alone. I had finally got my wish – and I had pushed everybody away from me. to where nobody even wanted to be around me. And with good reason. You know, it was good reason they didn't want to be around me. I'm telling this story because I think there is a lot of people that are like that. They don't know how to deal with a situation, a crisis, an emotional breakdown, whatever it is. So instead of talking and trying to be lifted up, they take the easy way, like I did, and push everything away and fall down. And I think I'm seeing that a lot in our society, you know. I did a video, I think we're losing our ability to communicate. That's part of it, you know, as part of this, because we don't want to communicate. We want to just shut everybody off and shut everything down. If it's not like me and you don't have my ideas and you don't have my values and you don't have my thoughts, you're not just like me, I'm going to turn you off and shut you down. Hate me. Because I hate you. And folks, that's not a good way to be. I'm telling you, I went through this with myself for years. It wasn't just a week or a month. It was years, and I drugged myself through this on purpose so I wouldn't have to deal with what I was dealing with. But you know what? What I was actually doing was making the situation worse. I thought I was making it better by turning everything off and pushing everybody away, but I actually made it worse to where it was affecting me even more. Two things brought me out of it. Two things brought me out. It was an internal thing about religion to me. Because I have been in church since I was a little bitty kid. The other thing was I met my wife. And I think we were two ships just floating adrift at sea. And we helped each other. You know, we helped each other. We helped each other find ourselves. I want to say something about the first one, the religion thing. There was a time whenever I was young and I was at church, and I don't know how many people go to church that watch this video, this channel, or if you have anything to do with church or whatever. But if you have, back in the day, there was these pastors that would give what we called a fire and brimstone speech, a sermon. You know, they'd be holding the Bible and yelling and carrying on, shouting at the audience. And they were doing it on purpose, you know, because they wanted to put like fear into people. And this one particular day that I was at church, the pastor was giving this really hard fire and brimstone speech. And he started talking about good versus evil and hate, just like, what the subject is here. He was going on with this, and he brought up the fact of evil can manifest itself in you, and you can bring out demons and evil spirits. And I remember it. I cannot forget it because it scared the life out of me as a little kid listening to this, and it terrified me. I mean, I was like wanting to crawl under the pew and just hide because it was terrifying. After he gave his sermon and everything, he liked to walk around and talk to people and, congregate, have casual conversations with people and stuff. Somehow I mustered up the strength. I walked up, and I was standing beside of him, and he finally noticed me, and he said, "Are you okay? Do you have something to talk about?" I guess he could tell that I was, off a little bit. And I said, I couldn't even talk. I mean, I was so scared. I was just nodding my head, And he pulled me to the side and he was like, what is wrong? What do you need to talk about? And I said, I finally got it out to where I could get enough strength. And I said, are demons real? It's hard to think that I was an innocent kid at one time. I was. But I asked him that. And his response was, and I don't remember it word for word, but his response was something like, you know how you want good, and whenever you talk to other people, you want to talk to people like you want people to talk to you. You want good things, right? And I was, back to nodding again, and I said, right, yes. And he said, when you want good, for others, you want good to come to your life, it will. But if you wish bad on others, if you wish hate on others, if you want evil to come, evil will come. I've never forgot that. And it's really true. It really is really true what he was saying. And even if you're not a religious person, even if you don't have any kind of religious values in your life, it's okay. It still fits if you really think about it. It really fits because look at the way I was for years. I know you didn't know me back then. Most people that watch this didn't know me back then. But I was an evil person. I was a person full of hate. And I wanted people to hate me. And what happened? People hated me. And I enjoyed bathing in the hate. If you want evil to come, if you want hate to come, it will. If you want the demons to come and manifest in you, they will. The one thing I'm going to say about this that I know without a doubt is 100% true. This is why I feel like I'm an optimistic person, because I've been through so much. And one thing I do know that is true. Good will always win. Good will always win over evil. No matter how many people have evil thoughts, no matter how much hate and venom people spew, good will always come. And that's just a fact. I mean, can you imagine what the people thought in World War II at the height of that war? Can you imagine going through that much evil and hatred? But good finally came out of it. It finally came out of that bad situation. And it always will. Good will always triumph over evil. So, to answer the subscriber's question, why do people hate? Why do people love? It's the age-old question. But I do know if you're around someone that is mean and evil and hateful and everything, kill them with kindness. Because eventually it will break through somehow. Something, some way and shape or fashion, that good will break through. I'm really grateful that it happened to me. You know, the good finally broke through to me. I was going down a path, like I said, I shouldn't have went down. And I knew better. That's the thing about it, is I knew better. It just was so much pain and hurt, I didn't want to know better. And, you know, not to be overhyping and everything, but that's a lot of what I want to do this channel for. Because I saw a long time ago how far away we're getting from the brotherhood and the sisterhood and the coming together and the good in trucking, the good in politics, the good in our world that we live in. We're getting so far away from it. And I know where that's going to end up, just like it ended up with me, is going to breed hate and fear and animosity and all these bad things. And we don't want to go there, folks. We don't want to go there. We want to go back. You know, we want to go back. We want to go back to the good times. Think of the song with Merle Haggard, "Are the Good Times Really Over for Good?" Listen to that song. I mean, listen to it from start to finish. If you're an old country music lover, go back and listen to the lyrics of that song, because he wished things could go back to the way it was. And in the end of the song, he said, the good times are not over for good. The best is yet to come. It depends on how we look at things. We can look at the glass as half full. We can look at the glass as half empty. We can have an optimistic outlook, or we can have a pessimistic outlook. Do you want to love, or do you want to hate? The choice is yours. And it's an emotion. So why do people hate? Because they choose to. That's why. They choose to. All I can ask you is, choose not to. Make a choice and choose not to. If you're around somebody that's full of hate and full of evil, give them some of your positive outlook. Maybe they need some. Anyway, hopefully I explained this a little longer video than what I usually put out. Hopefully I explained it. Hopefully the subscriber understands now, gets a better vision of this. Maybe it was just confirmation. I don't know what his angle was with it. Hopefully I didn't open a can of worms and make a lot of people mad. But anyway, stay positive. Keep a good outlook. Keep your chin up. Even whenever you don't think that you have anything good coming your way, good will come someday. It will. Good will always triumph over evil. Love is stronger than hate. It just is. With that being said, you guys be safe out there. Look out for one another. And we will catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.